Do you
And
think not having a male role model growing up is what made you step into a male role?
yeah, because I had to. I had no choice.
Women are far more competitive with each other, and I think women are far more women haters than men are by far. But nobody seems to want to call this fact out. So, like, that's my question. So it's like, why do it? Like, why go into these kind of fields? Like, why maintain sort of this above the shoulders, like acidic, this stuff that clearly for you is exhausting? Why continue to do it?
I did not have surprise. I'm covered in tattoos and I went into the military for 9 years. Don't have a dad. Shocker. So he like left when I was a baby and everything. And my mom was a teen mom, single teen mom. I didn't know what it was like to have like a male figure that was like good, in my life. I dealt with some really kind of bad stuff. And the military was an escape for me. And I didn't
Mhm.
even I have an associate's degree and I'm like 3/4 of the way through a bachelor's. And I didn't even think that was possible for me growing up. Like that wasn't even a possibility. And the only way that that would ever be attainable is if I joined the military. So I just had to escape my hometown.
Do you
And
think not having a male role model growing up is what made you step into a male role?
yeah, because I had to. I had no choice. Like I literally had no choice. It was either stay in my small town and work two jobs to try and maybe one day afford a car, maybe, or get out. And it was terrifying, and I did it. But I mean, I think that if I was well taken care of or something like a little bit better, I would be not struggling with being stepping out of that masculinity, which I'm coming back to now, but like stepping out of that now. But yeah, it's tough.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, we are creatures of habit as humans. We want to do the same thing over and over and over again. Influence is a book that I just read, and there's a whole chapter on commitment and consistency. There's two chapters on it, actually. And it's all about you, the more that you do the same thing over and over again, the more you get stuck in that habit. Like, you get stuck in
Mhm.
that same mindset, stuck in that same character, that same role. And if you're going and pursuing a masculine job, a masculine career, you're going to come home and feel just as masculine. It's going to be very, very difficult to switch that off and go to the other extreme and be feminine.
Yeah.
Andy, you had something. You've been waiting patiently.
Yeah, so I just wanted to for sure say that I totally disagree that men are the best man is better than everything compared to like the best woman. I just don't think that is true.
Can you give me a
Women have been
counterexample?
bad. Sure, women were badasses. Like women helped create like the first computers. Like Marie Curie, she discovered radioactivity in the X-ray, and without that, we wouldn't know about like the structure of DNA and genetics. So it's just so much came from certain discoveries by women, and us being able to do this, being able to communicate with each other on our computers, that wouldn't necessarily have happened without women. And I,
I mean, who invented the
I'm very good
telephone?
in.
Who invented the light bulb? Who discovered gravity? Who invented computers? Like, who invented the
But
printing
women
press? I mean, we
also
can be
weren't
reductionist
allowed
about this all day.
to.
Right, but how
But women weren't
convenient,
even
right? How
allowed to.
convenient is
How
that?
is that?
How convenient,
I feel like that's
right?
not
How
really fair
convenient
to
is
say
it?
because women were forced to be at the home
But they're
until
not
recently. Like
anymore.
we
How
couldn't.
about they're
Yes,
not
I know not
anymore?
anymore.
Right.
I
So
understand
where are
not
these? Where is
anymore.
this amazing woman CEO that is running the world, who is making amazing advanced discoveries in places like aeronautics and space? Where are all those discoveries? Like, where
I'm
are
sure
those?
they
I
are.
mean,
I feel like you just don't
women
hear
have been able
about
to
it.
vote for 100 years. You don't think if there was a woman running a company that was taking us to space that we'd be hearing about it?
But I
Is
also
that how
feel
deep the
like.
patriarchy goes? Like, we're just keeping women down in these boxes
But
and
there are
everything's the
women
handmaid's
astronauts, and
tale?
there are women who work in NASA in
How many
very
women
high
have been
up
on the
positions.
moon?
It's not just men.
How many women have been on the
I
moon?
I don't have a count
Zero.
of that just
Zero.
off.
It's okay.
Top of my head. But a lot of women were very important, like in the ground control that helped with that.
But that's
they
not the argument, right? I'm not
the
saying
handwritten calculations in order for us to be able to get to the moon.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not the argument. I'm saying, is there an example of a woman who's the best in the world at something that a man is not better than her at that particular thing? Does that person exist? And if so, who is she? I'd love to shake her hand.
I'm sure they do. I can't give you an example off the top of my head because I don't think you can really pinpoint who is the best at anything because it's literally changing all the time. Like new world records are broken every time we do.
Now you have men breaking female world records. Now you have men dressing up as women and breaking female records. Is that okay? Like, that's what's happening. Even women are getting their asses kicked by men in their own sports. So it's like, even in the women's division, they're not winning. I mean, if women were so great at athletics, like they'd be kicking all these dudes' asses, but they're not. There's a reason we have specialization in sports. And there's a reason we have specialization.
I'm not trying to argue that men aren't more
things like
physically.
Chess. But we also have specialization in things like chess. Women and men have separate leagues in chess. Is that a physical game? No. Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not like that deep into chess to be able to argue with you about women in chess. But I did want to go back to your point about CEOs because I do feel like what you define as success is just being the richest. But I also feel like those people who do become the richest are just people who are more comfortable being cutthroat and oppressing people. Like, for instance, Elon is firing everyone in the federal government. That I don't think is the best decision, and it's pretty cruel and
people get
messing
fired
up
all
a lot
the
of people's lives. But it's not the same. They've been fired illegally. It's not based on
and what about his
how good they are
illegal?
at their jobs.
What do you mean?
It is illegal. You have to go through a process in order to fire some of these people. You can't just send an email and be like, "You're fired."
No,
that's not how it works.
That's not how that happened.
There's literally a legal process in order to fire some of these federal workers that he's been firing.
Have you ever
look it up?
In the government?
Are you asking me if I've ever worked in the government? You think they can just fire any sort of person?
Have you ever worked for the federal government?
No, I haven't worked for the federal government. That doesn't mean I can't know about how the government works, though.
I did.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.